Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another AFLW Fantasy Twitter space pre-lockout chat. But it's not an hour before the game; it's still got a couple of days before the round kicks off. As I'll be unavailable on Friday, as I'm heading up to Queensland tomorrow for Dad's wedding. So unfortunately, won't be able to do that then. So we're doing it now. So, but joining me is Liam from Free Kick. There, mate. How you going?
Good, thanks, Bales. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Getting prepped for another week of fantasy, mate. How's the week been for you? Getting prepped for another weekend of footy?
Of course, it's half of the course at this stage. But look, I'd had a few trade ideas over kind of Monday, and then the Elise Parker news dropped, much to my sadness. So kind of been forced to make a certain set this week. But I've still got a few options to consider.
Yeah. No, the Elise Parker news, unfortunately, for a lot of coaches that brought her in, and that ankle. A few too many times, unfortunately. I think she's had that. Was it the same ankle that she's had a couple of issues with this year, or was it the other one?
It looked like it was the same one. I can't exactly confirm it off the top of my head, but watching the coverage, you could see that she had strapping tape underneath her sock, and you could kind of just quickly see it when she was getting it looked at on the ground on Saturday. So my guess was that that was the same one.
Yeah. So she's unfortunately ruled out for the rest of the season, which obviously is only a few games left, but still not great news for those coaches that had her. Is there any other, because I haven't been able to keep up to date with all the injury news, is there any other sort of injuries that coaches need to be keeping watch of as we head to teams announcements tomorrow night?
So the biggest, most important one is probably today. We've seen now that Alice Edmonds is a test with I think it was a finger or thumb injury, which is obviously a pretty concerning one, given she was actually an upgrade for a lot of people last week. So that one's probably the most impactful going forward. There've been no word from the Adelaide injuries.
Yep.
And then obviously the Bombers have lost Daria Bannister. I'm just trying to think. Is there any? I'm just going to try and pull up the injury report now and see if we've got any other big ones. I think that might have been it. There's news that Ruby Slicer might be back this week.
Yeah, that'd be good for Collingwood.
And Turbo is a test.
Yes, I saw that. That could throw a real spanner in the works over the final fortnight or sort of 2-3 weeks of the season if Bowles was to come back. So I think a few people said maybe she might not play again this season. They might just rest her up. But if she comes back this week and plays all right, then that's going to maybe mean people are going to bring her back for a third time this season. So
I'm not entirely sure about that.
Like
it's I don't know if that's going to be the best idea, but there are more outrageous choices that will get made this year. I guess I have concerns about the injury reporting quality at Fremantle, so I'll just assume that we might get some more shenanigans on that front with Turbo for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, exactly right. But I think the only other news bit was obviously I saw that Anne Hatchard left the ground last week. I mentioned this on Sunday night that she left with a bit of ice. It with the photos that looked like she was with the group, so I'm assuming that she'll be fine. I can't imagine that she'll miss. It seems like everything's good. I don't think she was listed on the injury report either, so I'm assuming that means that she's all good to go, which is good for everyone that's holding her, and it'll be interesting to see if she gets a tag or anything. But as always, we are live. So if you've got any AFLW Fantasy questions, make sure you put them in the live chat on YouTube or Twitter, and we'll get to answering those. But I think, obviously, the other bit of news, before we get stuck in a few other things, is obviously Maddie Prasparkas had a suspension sort of thrown out the tribunal, so she's free to play, which means that she's a pretty good target with a couple of good games, West Coast and Carlton in back-to-back weeks. So she's definitely on my radar. So you mentioned, Liam, that you've sort of trades have been thrown a little bit after Elise Parker being out. So what are your trades looking like at the moment?
At the moment, I believe that the number one option is to go a downgrade of Ella Heads to Daisy Darcy, taking Emily Borg down to a rookie, so kind of 300 to 305k, and then the trade up will be to Ash Riddell from Elise Parker. But there are some other trades that I can do that would see possibly I could try and work it with Matilda Schultz up to another ruck. Now, the easiest ruck to make that work with was Edmonds, but with that injury concern, she's a test this week, I'd be more hesitant. And so it'll be a little bit more difficult trying to get her up to strong.
Yep.
But that would also require me taking a bit of a haircut on the midfielder, and I'm not sure on the ceiling scores kind of available in that next group of players. / I think some still have the single tag coming, particularly Maddie Prasparkas, who will almost certainly see it in round 10.
Yeah, be exactly right. So you probably, like, for example, myself, I'm looking at bringing Maddie Prasparkas in. That would be something where I'd probably switch her to another premium in the final week, and hopefully she's made like that bit of cash and she's up to 1.3, 1.4, and it means that if for some reason Turbo was to be back this week or next week and she comes back with a big score, maybe you look at her, maybe you look at a Riddell, who I still don't have, or a Hatchard, who I think Hatchard's got West Coast actually in the final week. So if I don't get Hatchard before, then that would be something that I would look at there. But in terms of mine, I'm currently going Kiara Fitzgerald down to Dersma, just trying to get as much cash as possible. Then I'm either going one of two ways. I'm interested to see what you would say about this, Liam. So at the moment, my preferred option is going Talia Fellows, who made a bit of cash last week, going down to Tierney. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Renee Tierney. There you go. Third time for charm.
Love it. Beautiful. Downgrading to her because I think she will make a bit of cash after a good score last week. And then going Abby Dowrick up to Maddie Prasparkas, obviously for the two upcoming fixtures. Or I'd be doing a Tanya Kennedy to Daisy Darcy and Abby Dowrick to, I think the best I could get was Amy McDonald, but then there's also Ellie, actually, no, I don't think I can get Ellie Blackburn, actually. So it'd be like Claudia Whitford is another one against Port this week, Britt Benici, a few of those names in and around that price, Emily Bates. So I'm currently in the first one just because I didn't actually realise that Tanya Kennedy's got the Dogs this week. So she may actually put up a decent score. So would you be leaning to that first option as well?
I think kind of seeing what we've seen now from Tanya Kennedy, the fact that I think she'll be tagging Ellie Blackburn, and there's no real way of knowing if that's going to lead to a good score, because Hawthorn shouldn't have been a particularly hard matchup for her to score in, given she did have the role predominantly on Bates, but kind of didn't see that much of the ball at all. So I like the idea of a Benici. I think we've seen now that game against Carlton, she did really look back to her best. I don't know if they've necessarily got the greatest run upcoming, but I think the other thing that freed her up is she doesn't have Bree Davey in at CBAs. It's actually just Bree Davey floating in off half forward. Yeah. It kind of did free her up a little bit. Yeah, still a good run in the next three. So it's a plus
Sydney Richmond.
Plus 5.9. Yeah, it's the Richmond matchup, which is neutral. But yeah, I think the Britt Benici trade is a really interesting one, because I do think she's shown the consistency outside of the Essendon game when no one scored in the win.
Yeah.
But yeah, being freed up a little bit to be the main accumulator in those CBAs. And the fact that Collingwood did win that game, I'd be comfortable with her holding that kind of role. I'm just disappointed in myself for not having seen it in the first place, and she really didn't look impacted by that rib injury, which we'd all jumped at.
Yep.
And she's not on the injury report this week
either.
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, and that was actually the first game on the weekend. She played over 80% game time since round 3, which is good. So, and if you look at her scores, the sort of two lower scores, the 3 scores under 90 have been against Melbourne, Essendon, and Brisbane, who are all restrictive teams. So when she's got decent matchups to come, that could be a good shout as well. So it's pretty much just going down to, do you go and get Tierney for the cash gen, go get Maddie Sparks for the two good matchups, but keep Kennedy, or you just get Daisy Darcy and Britt Benici. Pretty much what it comes down to. So, but yeah, I'll make that call. Hopefully, the right one. A few of them have not been the right calls this year, namely trading Kate Hoare, Ash Riddell, and Emma Carney. Which, reading that out now, just what the hell was I doing trading those three out? I just don't understand. At the time, the logic was there, but yeah, just not quite what I after.
Yeah, I think you started on the back foot because you went early on the red dot and then have been scrambling on your value since then.
Yeah. It was for me, the one that killed me was going Kate Hoare down to Ella Roberts. And Ella Roberts has been great, but Kate Hoare with the 140 that week, and then the week after after round 3 going Riddell, who scored a 70 odd against Geelong. With the Brisbane matchup coming up, I went, let's go across to was it? No, I didn't go. I went road bottom, but yeah, it's right. We went the same trade, but I netted about the same amount of points. It was just the fact that I could have had her and then maybe gone Davey up to road bottom instead. But anyway, we'll digress from that. We'll move on to captains. Have you had a bit of a research in that, looking ahead to this week, the top options coming up?
Yeah, look, I have done my research. I'm still not settled on my final rankings because of it was really kind of dependent on what final injury news we've got, particularly for Adelaide, trying to assess the Hatchard Marinoff situation and any potential tags, and then also considering what kind of midfield group will get thrown at Riddell and at Garner, because I am pretty comfortable in saying Rowbottom and Gardiner will score well. It's just, where to fit in everyone else around those two.
Yeah.
Given, there are some players who are more
matchups, whereas this week they've all got the tougher match.
at the moment, I'm personally considering going either of Gardner.
Discord chat before that you've been Gardner into road bottom for most of the week, and that's what I settled on Sunday night when I looked at I had a look at the quick matchups coming up, and I saw Marinoff against Brisbane. Probably Spark goes to her because I'm pretty sure that happened last year when they played up at Heritage Bank Stadium, and I'm just having a look. So actually in the prelim, what did Marinoff score in the prelim? So Hatchard 85 and Marinoff 76, so very low scoring game, obviously shorter game as well. And then in the actual game last year where the Crows lost by 22, Marinoff got a 109. Actually, 109. Okay, fair enough. Randall got 103. That'd be very nice if she could repeat that again this week. And then Hatchard, got 61. So, actually, and then they played in season 6. What did Marinoff get in that one? The Crows won by 30. Hatchard 120, Marinoff 97. So, so a bit hard. Looks like maybe one game sort of Hatchard, then Marinoff. I think Marinoff probably gets a tag this year based on how well she's played, but Hatchard also could get it. But will be very interesting. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it could definitely be influenced by what kind of midfield centre bounce attendance weighting we see from Adelaide, given Hatchard did have a bit of a down game. I think part of that can be influenced by the fact that it was a bit of a walkover pretty quickly.
Yep.
So you've got the ability to change things up. So that's another reason why I'm not set in my rankings, because there's just a few unknowns and a few role changes possible, or just a few tagging options. So it's a tough one this week, and I think it's going to be really, really important to nail it, because we've seen probably the biggest difference this year is the haves and have nots when it comes to captains.
Yeah, exactly right. And yeah, when people look at Hatchard's score from last week, the 106, they're probably thinking it's decent, but not quite up there. But she played about 15 to 20% less than what she normally does because she was rested for the pretty much the whole last quarter. And whether that was the ankle, which probably have something to do with it, but also the fact that her and Randall rested, and even Noffy came off towards the end and rested, probably because the game was done and they've got Brisbane this week. So, but will be very interesting to see what happens with captains this week. So it could be a big swing in terms of if you finish top 100 and not, because it'll be one to look at. So let's get into some questions. But also before we do as well, I have got the MVP fantasy MVP vote on Instagram now. So if anyone wants to go and vote for that, make sure you go to my Instagram story or click the link. I've put a tweet on my own profile, Bales DT. Make sure you go and follow that. I've put the link up for that, so make sure you go and vote. The candidates this week: Garner, Riddell, Marinoff, and Bruton. So North Melbourne dominating the candidates this week. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who takes it out this week. The votes are pretty close at the moment, so make sure you go and vote. Beautiful. All right, well, let's get into some questions, Liam. So first one comes from Ben Hayes. Actually got a few comments here, so we'll go through these. So he said, Morph against Nate Edmonds might go huge. Also going to target Carney against top two teams. Thoughts on these trades? Fitzgerald to a 300k defender. Ty Smith to Georgie Prasparkas, A. McDonald, Bree Davey, or Britt Benici. So first of all, who would you be going out of Georgie Prasparkas and A. McDonald?
I prefer the fact that McDonald never sees a tag is my main thing, because they've both been pretty equal this year. Georgie dropped 2k in price and Amy dropped 5k after they were 1k apart last week. But I still think I prefer McDonald just because she's just not going to see the attention. But very intelligent heads can disagree quite reasonably on that.
Yeah.
I think the one that I do like is Benici.
Yeah, I was just about to say, so you out of the Collingwood duo, you'd go with Benici over McDonald?
Yes.
Yeah, so Ben, he's going Fitzgerald to 300k defender, Ty Smith to Britt Benici, and Hannah Priest to Emma Carney. Thoughts on those three moves?
Yeah, that's fine. Like, I don't mind going to Carney, and just double check the North matchups. I haven't really considered them for defenders. I just kind of had locked Carney into my side and not considered it further. Yeah, they're neutral, slightly bad, neutral. I think you can comfortably launch into that one.
Yeah, and I think the fact that North have got obviously Borders in the final round, but they've got Melbourne and Adelaide. Even though they could be tricky against those two teams for defenders, is probably a good thing for Carney because the ball will be back there. She gets used all the time. It takes plenty of kick in, so it could actually be a good couple of weeks for Emma Carney there. What are your thoughts on Hannah Priest? Obviously, a few people have discussed trading, a few people are holding, a few people don't know what to do. Does this pretty much come down to if St Kilda defenders are named tomorrow, you just hold, or are you trading because of the cash that she's going to lose, or where are you sitting with that at the moment?
So I'm sitting on the side of trading because of the cash he's likely to lose. I don't see another 110, which I believe is her break even, or something close to that. It's going to be difficult to see her hitting that. Yeah, 109.2. Even if she scores, let's say she scored an 80s, mostly 80s this year, she's still going to be down at 760k next week.
Yeah, wow.
So, it's not great. And I do think you can bank somewhere between 100 to 200k, kind of as we were discussing on Sunday, to justify doing it. And I think the problem that we had last week was Priesty's done that and they've won the game as well.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have someone that she really needs to tag this week against Fremantle. Irrespective of whether or not Turbo plays, Turbo's never the tag option. And Hayley Miller had been it to begin the year when healthy and with a more functional game pattern, but we don't have that either. So, yeah, my prediction is that she'll be in defence again, but even then, I'd still be trading.
Yeah, because as you said, even if she goes an 80, which she's only done that twice this year. She went a 77, which is close, but an 85 against Port Adelaide, then a 120 against the Bulldogs. And then besides that, she's gone 66, 65, a 60, and a 30. So she goes a 60 again, which she's done in a few games this year. You said that she's going to be about 770 if she gets an 80. She'll probably be close to 700 if she goes 60. So that's pretty substantial, and you could always bring her back in a couple of weeks if she looks like she's back to playing that role. And I'm just having a look here. If you go to like a Daisy Darcy, for example, which a few people are looking at this week with the Port matchup, you make yourself, what's that? You make yourself 199K there, which is pretty substantial.
Yeah, that's been a pretty popular trade that I've seen posted around, and I have been ticking it off. I think we know that Daisy Darcy is talented. We know that in better matchups she can score, at that 65, 70 level, and that's what I'd be expecting for the next couple of weeks. And I think you could reasonably say that Priestley's going to score something similar. So to get that 199K on top of a comparable score, you can use that on top of a midfielder where the swings in scoring, you could reasonably expect a 30 to 35 points upside from that cash versus 5 to 10 points difference on the trade down to Darcy. I think that's acceptable.
Yeah. I'm just having a look at because I'll be able. I can pretty much do that and just hold Fitzgerald. I could just do Priest down to Darcy, and just because it actually gets me 20K more than going Fitzgerald down. And if I wanted to, I could even go Fitzgerald down as well, and get even more cash. And go Benici and maybe go into next week with a bit of cash in the bank. So yeah, definitely something I'll have a look at as well. Ben also said, who would you pick for 1.093 million for a midfielder? I've traded out Benici twice this year and Davey once as well. So if he's traded Benici out twice, would you be saying going back for a third time?
1.0. Well, yeah, probably. Really, if you really don't like her as a player, you can go either of the Geelong girls. You could go Emily Bates, who might still get a tag, or I don't know if there's many other options I like below that, but yeah. Trade out Benici twice.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm just having a look here. There's not too many. I think that the one Smokey, I don't know if I could quite do it because we all had her as a rookie at the start of the year, but Jean Ann scoring against West Coast, could that be a play to get a bit of cash at 9.23? Maybe with the 2 games coming up, do you maybe go for, is she a play?
Yeah, so my thinking on G is she's not particularly involved in the kick marking game. She's very, very good at scoring at stoppages, which really suited that night game last week against Richmond. We've kind of seen her better when she's got more of that stoppage time, but she doesn't get as involved in that transition flow. And with a game against the West Coast, we've seen a lot of sides just kind of move the ball at ease, just around the place. You see, Eliza West, who's a very low mark player, popping up for a few marks just because there's just so much space everywhere. I just think there's a possibility that she'll just be okay, and she won't be incredible. I could see a huge score for Maddie, who is a really good mark for her size and is often used as a hit-up target around the ground, and does have that kind of natural little tick lead game from a midfielder where just watching Jean Anscorn, she doesn't. She's not as much of a natural at it. She's getting more of it into her game, I've noticed through the season, but it's probably a few too many thoughts on a player that's below $1 million. But yeah, I just have some hesitation about whether or not she'll see the ceiling score we'd want to see if we're picking for her for this matchup.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. I just had a look as well at a couple, again, just playing my trades as we go through the questions. Priest to Darcy, Fitzgerald to Dersma, Dowrick to Riddell. Sounds like great trades. Getting Riddell in, 6K short.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
that's rough. That's unfortunate.
But, yeah. So, but then again, I could always just get Veria over Daisy Darcy to get Riddell. But maybe I'll just save a bit of cash with my value not looking too great. So we'll go to the next one, which is from. Let's have a look. Where's it gone? There you go. So Corey Blackledge said, Ferris, Hatchard, and Randall. So that's so trading Bannister, Dowrick, and Hannah Priest to Ferris, Hatchard, and Randall. Or would you be going Ali Anderson, Lucy McAvoy, and Randall, as I want to push for top 20 or even top 10, currently 39 overall? So what do you like as a trio? Ferris, Hatchard, Randall, or Anderson, McAvoy, and Randall?
The McAvoy one is an interesting one.
So what's she done lately? Let's have a look.
Nothing spectacular.
Yeah, so 700K, she's in the last 52, 61, 54, 68. So it's just been pretty much just these sort of 50 to 60 scores.
Yeah, it's not my favourite option, but that kind of 700K range is not great for defenders. Like we talked about Daisy Darcy as the option.
Veria? Would you go Veria over a McAvoy?
No, I like. Oh, yeah, it's not a great option if you're kind of going for that high rank.
Nat Grider, you got Nat Grider there as well.
Yeah, like Nat Grider is an option that we flirted with all year, and she just every time it's like, oh, she's put it back together, has a 75, and then she follows it up with a 33. Like,
yeah,
I would have said yes if her last 5 scores, which outside of that 33, are 66, 75, 66, and 57. That 33 is a 65. I'd be like, yep, that's totally fine. But with a matchup against Adelaide, I'm just concerned she might get stuck on Gould. Because she has had to play on that taller forward at times. And I know Katie Brenner's not a tall forward, but I remember particularly she was playing on KB in the first game. So I'm not sold.
then you got Naomi Ferris, who obviously is bringing in, but in the McAvoy one, he's not getting it. Yeah. And then you got Geordie Allen at 575.
Yeah, like if I had the chance, I'd almost say, Brie Conan probably gets a better role this week, and it's 26K more than Lucy McAvoy, and she's got some CBAs in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Didn't have a great game against Hawthorn.
88 before that, and then 60 and 68 is pretty nice. 3 of last 4, which is good.
Yeah, and there has been the CBAs. So if there's any flex in there to kind of go up, like, yeah, if you've already, I presume that's because this person already has Darcy. Otherwise, that's the number one option. People have asked about Maddie Gay. I'd be really worried that she just gets, has a rest again. That's now rounds 5 and 6 she played after a rest in round 4, and then she gets rest again for round 7. So as much as Melbourne have a good run for defenders,
yeah,
it's not my favourite option. I think I saw a question up about that
Maddie
well.
Gay. Yeah, I was going to say someone asked about Maddie Gay, but yeah, I'm a bit nervous about going there. She's been managed a couple of games, and she played forward, I think, against Geelong as well, and sort of all over the place. So I'm not as keen on her anyway. And I did see a message that you've got to go in about 10 minutes or so. I just couldn't reply on things. Yep. So I'm obviously on the other account, but all good. We'll go through a few more questions as well. Belinda Nolan, obviously this is one Parker injury. Who's the best midfielder to bring in? So I think we'll exclude Marinoff and Garner just because I think a lot of people have got them. And if you don't have them, I think they're probably just top of the list anyway if you didn't have them. Maybe not this week because they've got tough matchups, but who are you going in that next batch? So you've got plenty of options. You've got Ash Riddell, Charlie Rowbottom, Anne Hatcher, maybe a bit of a question mark, Ali Anderson. I like Maddie Prasparks with the 2 games count. Then you've got those plays in that 1.1 or under range. So who are you personally looking at for Parker?
Yeah, I think it's a question of, are you looking to match the top 50, top 100, or are you looking to differentiate? If you're looking to match and you don't have them already, it's probably Riddell. It's not that far away if you're doing some downgrades elsewhere. If you've got some cash on the bench, I think that if you're in a situation where you want to try and differentiate yourself, I think the two main options I like are Anderson and Prasparkas, Matty Prasparkas.
Yeah.
I think Blackburn's going to see the Tanya Kennedy tag. I don't trust Mon Conti. I've made that pretty clear at this point, fantasy wise. But I'm maybe take my advice then with a grain of biased salt.
Is Connie Whitford a pod? Like, she's gone 99, 99, 100 in the last three. Started off with a 104, 125. She had that Collingwood 78, who are a bit more strict than Bulldogs in 82, but been solid out there. Is she a real pod play, or you wouldn't go there with Roe Bonham being the main one there?
Yeah, I think the problem there is that, if you, I know this sounds ridiculous, if you discount the game against West Coast, it's not been great. Like, not been great. Just doesn't have a ceiling.
Yeah.
Like, the highest score outside of that's 104, and we haven't seen a history in the past that says that absolutely, like, really bring you back in levels of enormous. Like, I would say that Amy, maybe this is just my appetite for risk, but we've seen Amy McDonald hit 120s even in shorter seasons, and even this season hit the 120s. But we've seen her do it before, and she's cheaper.
Yeah, it's about 70k or so. Yeah.
Yeah, so in that case, it's like, well, I think you're back to 70k, and I think you're either getting a similarly consistent player who's also had a 120 plus score, but we've seen her, and I just probably trust it a little bit more. And it's the fact that, Whitford's putting this together for the first time in her, I think she's 6th or 7th season. Like, she's actually been around for a fair while and is only putting it together now. So, yeah, I don't mind it as a pod. I just think that I prefer some of the cheaper ones in that similar style of midfielder or kind of fantasy play.
Yeah. Tim's got this one. He said, Ange Foley, a 1 week play with the Gold Coast matchup. Need to get Tanya Kennedy out of my team. I think was it Mel that started Ange Foley last year and got like a 3 or something?
And this year, and this year she's down to Ange Foley both times. I don't like 1 week plays. It was at least Parker this week. Who's to say it won't be another injured player that forces you to faff around again?
Yeah.
I think we've seen this year, even with, we were having a discussion, not on this week's pod, but last week, about how long do you want to hold the player, a rookie? Kind of, do you just trade in a player who might only play 1 week? It's very much a case of, it's either you think they're guaranteed to make some cash, which is very different to guaranteed to score highly, or you just want to think, okay, I can hold this player for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I want Foley. Yeah. Like, she dropped behind the ball and she looked better in that game against North, but North are the easiest defender matchup or second easiest to Fremantle.
Yeah, I couldn't go. Ange Foley's an option, I don't think. Well, this is sort of a question for me, but probably asking you about her because I brought her in last week, and a few people might look at the fact she's cheap. Chelsea Randall, what are your thoughts on her? Went in the midfield last week. Only scored the 63, which probably people look at that's sort of not huge, but
she did have a bit of a discount.
Yeah, I was going to say.
She did lose points after the
she
game.
was on 69. She played 71% game time, which because she rested the last 10 minutes of the game with the game all done. She had that knee knock in the first quarter, but that didn't really seem to hamper her going forward. And then playing midfield, that's the main thing, playing midfield and then also up forward. And the fact that they got Brisbane this week, I would imagine that Randall plays midfield in a pretty big matchup, and I would be shocked if she didn't tag Ali Anderson.
Yeah, look, I don't know if she will tag Ellie Anderson the whole game.
Yeah, maybe just stoppage, maybe.
It might be, she rotates through there on the tag because, I just don't know if Adelaide have been willing to have one player be the tagger the entire game this season. I think, so I still like it because she's super cheap still, and I still think that, we know that she's a proven scorer. Even if she doesn't hit the ceilings of last year, we know she can score 75 to 80. And given her price, that's a good bit of value. I would be more keen on it if Najwa Allen was playing.
Yeah.
But the fact that she's suspended, maybe there's a little bit more defender time. It might be just one of those ones. We'll just watch the team sheet, see who gets picked again this week, see if anyone's named who could be a defender, just to give you a little bit more confidence. But I really don't mind it, and particularly if you're desperate for cash and you can't bank enough from, you've already got a Darcy, or you don't have Priest as your cash try and bank trade. I don't mind the idea of going your F5 down to Randall to really take someone up to a proper premium that you're not going to need to get rid of.
Yeah, I like it. I don't mind as well. Obviously, went there last week and went decent after a bit of a not a great start. But I'll go one more question for you because I think you have to head off in a sec. Yep.
I've got time for one more.
So we'll go Sam for this one. So he said, is Nicola Barr an option now that Elise Parker is out for the season? What was her injury from last week? So, Nicola Barr, so I think she got crunched in a contest, came off, but she came back on and she played out the game, but she was off for about 10 minutes. I'm not sure if it was a HIA or anything like that, but I'm going to bring also Alicia Eva into this conversation as a cheap midfielder as well, and even a Goldsworthy. So, like, how do you see that Giants midfield looking in the final few games of the season?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that we're going to get a pretty solid dose of Nicola Barr in the CBAs. I think that's a given. I don't know if we're going to see, one player replace Parker, though, completely in that midfield group. I think we might see, a mixture of Zarika, Dalloway, Macy, Alicia Eva go in. Eva's been someone who, in her career, has been relatively consistent. I've not liked the fact that, as a trading option, she's not seen any CBAs this week, but she is still priced like super cheaply. So, yeah, it might be that you just see some more ball around the ground because she is that most experienced player on the team, and they're probably more of a focal point now.
Yep.
But yeah, I do like Barr, given she didn't increase her price much last week. But I'm obviously a huge fan of Goldsworthy. And I've had her for a few weeks now and have definitely appreciated the experience.
Barr dropped 47k last week, so actually cheaper than what people got. And then they also play against Carlton this week, which is I think the easiest matchup for midfielders. So she's playing midfield. That could be a fruitful acquisition this week. And Goldsworthy's now over $1 million with a good sort of since round 2 she's been great, hasn't scored below 70, so if you can get her then it is also a great option. But Liam, I think you've got to head off now, mate, but appreciate you jumping on for
not a problem.
about 40 minutes or whatever it was. But mate, where can people find you on the socials and the Free Kick Pod?
Yeah, for sure. So be sure to follow Free Kick W Pod on Twitter, on Instagram, and you might even see a little bit more of us now on Threads after the news today that new Twitter accounts are going to be forced to pay some money to diversify our social media strategy. And then you can find me on here on Twitter at Liam AFLW Fantasy.
Yeah. So wait, what happened with Twitter? What did I miss?
Oh, Elon has come out with a new policy that they're trialing at the moment in New Zealand and the Philippines or something, but all new accounts that are created are going to need to pay $1 a year in order to be able to post at
seriously,
all.
bloody hell. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news for you there.
No, that's all right. But yeah, also, have you guys got potential Twitter space happening tomorrow night as well, post teams?
Yeah, that's the plan. I think it's going to be a 7:45 space. There'll be a post up about it soon. Be sure to get your questions in, and hopefully we'll have a good time on that as well.
As I said, hopefully I can jump on that one, but I obviously Queensland, so not sure. But I'll make sure I'll be tuning into the replay. But make sure you guys get along and tune into that tomorrow night with the Free Kick post team stream ahead of round 8. But no, Liam, thanks very much for jumping on, mate. Good. If we don't speak to you before the weekend, good luck for the weekend.
Yeah, you too, mate.
Beautiful.
Cheers. Ciao.
Thanks, Liam, for jumping on for a little bit there. I'll probably go for another what is it now? It's 7:45 local time. Probably go for another 15 minutes or so, answering a few more questions, and yeah, then we'll get to the end of the space and look forward to the weekend. So, right, so let's get through some other options here. So Gareth Evans, so if you guys got more questions, keep floating them through on the live chat on YouTube and also the comment section of the Twitter space. Gareth Evans says, trying to get Dowrick to Matty Prasparkas or Ali Anderson. If you pick between the two, I like Matty Prasparkas the most just because of the West Coast and Carlton matchups. But do keep in mind that, as Liam said before, that she's got Gold Coast in the final round, which Lucy Singer will tag her, and you're probably going to want to trade them. But I suspect that with the next two games, she'll score well, she'll go up in price, she'll be at a nice price, anywhere from probably 1.3 to 1.4 million. You'd be able to make an easy switch to another midfielder there in round 10 anyway. So I like Matty Prasparkas in, but Ali Anderson's also a very good option as well, being very consistent. But yeah, seeing part of your question, Gareth, was and thoughts on Darcy Maloney to Crockett Grills need to trade down to do the top trade. So Darcy Maloney, who's been going okay, and what's Crockett Grills been doing? So first of all, Darcy Maloney, what did she score last week? She's going okay. I know she's been going well last few weeks. Yeah, 81, 70, 69, 60 in round 4 as well. So, yeah, solid last 4 weeks. Obviously, the last 3 weeks have been better, which is good. Very bit of cash. 28k last week. And then what did Crockett Grills do? I haven't even looked at Crockett Grills as an option. So she's 710, 66, 67 the week before that, 59. Then obviously you got suspension, but the 32 there and a 42. I personally wouldn't go there. Probably not the ceiling that you want for a pick there, and then also probably the floor isn't looking too good. If I was picking in and around that price of that sort of 710 or a bit below, we mentioned before, I like Chelsea Randall if you're looking for an option around there. 63 last week, played about 10, 15% less than what she normally does. She had points taken off post-game, so she's on 69 -6. And I suspect that she'll play midfield just with the Brisbane matchup. She could go to Ali Anderson there at stoppages as well. So she scored, 100 against them last year in the regular season. So I think she'll have a decent enough game, or at least go 60 plus and sort of validate that cheap price. So I like her as probably that pick over Crockett Grill. And she's 50k less as well. So you get a proven scorer, 50k less. I think that I'd probably go her. So Darcy Maloney down to Randall to get it done could potentially be a play. The only thing you're probably doing is that you're sort of almost locking in Randall, because then you're probably going to need a little bit of money, probably 150, 200k to go Randall up to someone if she were to fail this week. So that's just probably something I'd be keeping in mind as well going into future weeks. All right, we'll keep going through these questions. You keep flicking them through. So we'll go. So Mime AF said, still holding Gunjaka. Sigh in the brackets there for him as well. Move to a stable defender such as Daisy Darcy for her 60s, or go for a roughie like Geordie Allen or Naomi Ferris. For me, I think I do like Daisy Darcy the most out of those options. Because when you look at her scores this year, so she's obviously cheap because of round 5 and 6 where she played. So round 5 she got 44 against Adelaide, 46 against Richmond, and 64 against Brisbane, who are a bit of a tougher matchup, but she went all right. There was a tough sort of few there, but I think with Port this week, good matchup. I think she'll go pretty well. I like her as an option there. And as well, if you're going a Priest down as well, that makes you 200k. But obviously going Gunjaka down, who you need to probably trade. I think Darcy's a good option. Joy Allen, I don't know why I'm yawning so much. I work all day probably. Geordie Allen obviously got a 20 and a 30, then went 75. So if that 75 is more of an indication of what she's going to do, she's a good option. She's cheap, but I'm still a bit wary of that sort of really low floor. She put up a low score there. She's going to go down again, and it's going to be really hard to get her up. Like you got Nat Grider there at 664, as Liam said, but then again, she's got a floor as well. Like we've seen 33 in round 5 and a 30 in round 1. Wouldn't probably be trusting Maddie Gay. And then you've got, Naomi Ferris is obviously another one there as well. So I'd probably go Daisy Darcy for the safety. Various there as well, who could be a play. 74-6-1 last two. Only 53% game time last week, which is very, very odd. Was a lot less than what she's done this season. So yeah, Gunjaka down to Daisy Darcy could definitely. Is it actually down to Darcy, or what's Gunjaka priced at? Actually, she's actually cheaper. Where's Gunjaka? Yeah, 578. Wow. Okay. Yeah, she's dropped a heap last couple of weeks. What's the scores been? Yeah, 39, 51, 37 last week. So yeah, that's exactly why, unfortunately. Gordon Showers, which upgrade this week? Heads to Edmondson, Schultz to Moody, Malloy to Goldsworthy, or Bruton to Riddell. So heads to Edmondson is a good move. I just feel that Heads could easily sort of score the same as Edmondson this week. And Heads has been solid without being amazing besides that 88. So I almost probably wouldn't do that. Schultz to Moody could be a play. Moody obviously will be solo up this week. Just Good's missing this week. I think she'll be back. Well, I think that at this stage it looks like Good will miss this week and she's a chance to return next week. Malloy to Goldsworthy. I think Malloy has a good game this week against the Bulldogs, so I wouldn't be moving off it even though Goldsworthy is a great option. And then Bruton to Riddell probably wouldn't do just yet. I think Bruton's probably still got a bit more cash to make, so you could probably hold for one more week, but you could do that. So it's hard. So there's, again, questions for all of them are good moves. I'm probably... I think Bruton to Riddell gets you the best player out of all of these. I think Riddell is the best player there, and you've got your cash. You're sort of taking those 3 good scores from Bruton, or however many good scores you got from her, and then you can sort of cash it in. So I'd probably go Bruton to Riddell, but Schultz to Moody is also another trade that could also be a good pod play. A lot of people still got Schultz. She's still heavily owned, and you get Moody, who's going to be a pod, and she could go very big this week against Giants. So depends what you're after. I'd probably go Bruton to Riddell, but Bruton and Moody could score the most this week. So that could be the play there. What have we got here? I like Billy Bags, mate. If you didn't want to tune into the space, mate, then you don't have to. I like that comment there. Leah Beveridge laugh at that as well. But there you go, Bill. Sam says, ranked 44th and would love to make top 10. Mate, I'd love to be up there. Unfortunately, it's not the case for me. Is trading Marinoff this week an option if she gets the tag? Also, Parkus are thinking to target Maddie Prasparkas with the Eagles matchup thoughts. Well, yeah, Maddie Prasparkas I love as an option. She's also got Carlton next week, which is also a great matchup. So back-to-back good matchups for Maddie Prasparkas. I love it. Marinoff out this week. That actually, funny enough, that did float through my head on the drive home from work today. I thought, Marinoff priced at 1.573. She's got Brisbane this week. Could she get the tag and you trade her out and she drops 150k, let's say, and she's down at 1.42 next week? Makes it a lot more attainable. Plus, going her down to like a Maddie Prasparkas bank, she's 300k, and you could use it on top. So, for example, I could even do something like just sort of. So I could go Priest down to Darcy, Marinoff down to Prasparkas, and then go Randall if I wanted to up to Bonnie Too Good. I'm not going to do it. I don't think I could trade Marinoff out in good conscience, knowing that she could easily go 130 when a potential they tag Hatchard instead. So I wouldn't advise it. It's very, very risky. Like I know Sammy's saying that trying to make top 10. If you traded Marinoff out, that's either going to make you finish top 10 or it's going to blow you out to probably 150 or 200 or even more because of the sheer amount of people that have got Marinoff. If she goes 120, 130, people are going to VC it probably or captain it, even in a tough matchup, and you'll drop a lot. So depends what you're doing. If you want to risk it fully to get the biscuit, you could do it, but I couldn't advise it. So don't do it. That's what I'm going to go with there. Obviously, Leo says Matty Gay plays week, and me and Liam were saying for probably not. We said Corey's question there. Chris says Rowbottom and Randall or Anderson and Maloney. I'm Road Bottom and Randall there. I think Road Bottom is the best player of the four, and I think Randall can match Maloney, if not score more. So yeah, I'm Road Bottom and Randall there. Obviously, the caveat to that is if Randall was to fail, you're probably stuck in a little bit of a hole. You've then got to probably find a bit of cash to go up. So that's probably the one thing I'd be noting there. But I'd be going Road Bottom and Randall. Road Bottom has shown how good she is this year. Scored 101 against Brisbane last week while being tagged for a big portion of that game. Only one score below 100 this year, being an 81 against Collingwood, when no one scored above 92, I think it was. And yeah, just like looking like the scores, like 1, 2, 3, 4 of her first 7 scores have been over 120. So yeah, she's been very, very good this season. So yeah, I'd be going those two there. What else we got here? Filsey said, would you rather take a Zarika to Randall, move, or Priest to Darcy to fund a Benici to Garner upgrade? I would probably do the Priest to Darcy move because Zarika's not dropping price or anything like that. She honestly got a 50 odd last week, but she's hasn't got 100 and something break even like Hannah Priest does. So that's the thing that I would be nervous about. Yeah. So what did Zarika get last week? She got a 59. So no kicks, 13 handballs, 8 tackles. That's interesting stat line there. Yeah, I'd probably be doing that. If you've got 3 trades, I don't know what you're doing with the other one, Philsy. Maybe you've got Elise Parker or a forced trade, but I'd almost be tempted to go Priest down to a defender that you want. It could be O'Driscoll, could be someone a bit higher. You could even go down to Darcy, then go Zarika down to Randall, then use all that money on top of someone to upgrade to Garner. But Benici to Garner is a good move, but we're talking about Benici as a potential trading option. So I guess you don't have to trade Benici out, maybe move someone else. But yeah, that's definitely I'd be going Priest to Darcy if you're looking between the 2 trades there. What do we got here? So Trevor Squires, I hope I've said that, or Squires. I hope apologies, Trevor, if I've butchered that your last name, mate. But players that suspend at GWS, I don't think there's any players that suspend at GWS. I think you're probably talking about injuries. Injuries, I think it's just Elise Parker being out. And then you also said, will Eva go big at GWS? She could do. Oh, okay. Beeson suspended. Okay, I might have missed that. Yeah, and GWS midfield too. Yeah, it's a good point, Trevor, actually. Beeson being suspended. So, yeah, Eva's an interesting one. At sort of 800K, make a bit of money by doing that move. So that could definitely be something that you look at if you're in a bit of a bind. But I personally, if you can get to another midfield, I wouldn't do the Eva move just because if Eva was to put up a low score, you're sort of in a, again, bit like Randall, in a bit of a hole. You can't get up to those top midfielders, so it's a bit of a risk, but it could be one that it pays off if she goes big. She got a 95 last week. She go to 90 again. I think she'd make 100K at least and be near that $1 million. So yeah, it could be a play, risky, but could be a play. Corey said can't afford Conan as I'm 20K sure. Really want Anderson. So yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so we were talking about those options before, Corey. So if you can't get Conan, then that is fine as well. Ben Hayes, instead of upgrading Ty Smith, I can get Goldsworthy in for Wardlaw. Is that better? So yeah, it comes down Ty Smith and Goldsworthy, or Wardlaw, and who would you be? Oh, hang on, I've actually put that up on the screen on YouTube. Yeah, Ben, who were you going that to before? Ty Smith to Benici, let's say, or even George Plus, who I'm still big on George Prasparkas. So it pretty much comes down to Benici and Wardlaw or Ty Smith and Goldsworthy. I think I'd still keep Wardlaw. I think I'd still go Ty Smith up because you can get Ty Smith up to a player potentially that's going to go 100 plus. And Ty Smith hasn't gone over 100 all year. And I think what did Wardlaw score last week? Jesse Wardlaw went up 27K. She's got 75, got Freo this week. Good matchup. Yeah, I'd be keeping Wardlaw personally. So I'd be going Ty Smith out, Ben instead. That's the move I'll be doing there. So Well, we are at 8 o'clock. If there's no other questions, we could potentially be calling it there. I'll give people a couple of minutes to put in a question or two, but at the moment, that looks like that could be it. But if anyone that did miss at the start, the trades I'm looking at doing at the moment, before the space, I was going Fitzgerald down to Dersma, Fellows to Tierney, and Derek up to Matty Prasparkas. But thinking more about it now, as Liam was saying, with Priest breaking being 100, if she gets, even if she goes well and gets an 80, that she's dropping probably 70, 80K. And if she was to go get a 60, which she's done on multiple occasions this year, she's going to drop closer to 700. So that's a big sort of gap between what she could sort of either stay at her price if she was to get 100, or she could go down in excess of 100K. So I also like going Priest down to Darcy because it banks you 199K, which I really like. And then even if I go Fitzgerald to Dersma, I could then almost get Derek to Riddell. It'd pretty much just be getting Veria instead of Daisy Darcy and then getting Riddell. Or probably the play I'm likely to do is just keep Fitzgerald and maybe just going a Tanya Kennedy to a defender and maybe going a Derek to a Benicia or something. So they're the trades I'm sort of weighing up with at the moment. I'll have a bit of a play around with them as we get close to lockout and seeing what trade I'll do. So Matt's got this question here. So upgrading Neve Kelly and official. Do I go for Drury? Depay. I don't know why I said Drury then. That's going back to the men's fantasy. Do I go for Depay or Skepper or try to get Roberts? I brought in Bar last week when I should have got Goldsworthy. Also, in terms of defence, is heads to Darcy a good move, or am I better to downgrade Priest? I think it's probably going Priest down just because the amount of cash he's going to lose. If you're not worried about the cash at all, maybe holding Priest over Heads is better because I think Priest is going to be better than Heads moving forward. But just with the sort of the risk of maybe losing a lot of cash, it's probably Priest down. In terms of Depay, Skepper or Roberts, I'll probably rule out Depay just because being key forward, being a bit up and down. 103 last week, which is good, but 46 week before, 63, 68, 64, 120, 48. So the 200s are great, but then a couple of 40s and then the rest are being 60. So I wouldn't be going her. What's Skepper been doing? I think she's been a bit up and down. I think she had one bad score a couple of weeks ago. So let's have a look at what Katie Skepper's been doing as the website didn't type in what I wanted. So 879. She got a 40 the week before, but 107 last week, 40 the week before, 76, 101, 50, 65. So that 50 and 40 don't look great, but the scores outside that are solid. So she's an option. I prefer Ella Roberts out of all of them. So if you can get Roberts, that's a good play at 994. But then again, I'm not sure if I'd target her just because of she scored well last week. But West Coast got a couple of tricky matchups. They got Eston this week. I know the last round they got the Crows. So yeah, I'm just trying. Bloody hell! I'm just trying to look at the other options here. There's not too many others that you're probably looking at. So unless you can get up to a Bonnie Tugler or something like that. So yeah, I'd go Roberts out of those three. But yeah, if you can't get up to Roberts, then might be another couple of options there as well. So I reckon if there's no more questions, I reckon the fact that I've been yawning a fair bit the last few minutes, I reckon that's probably where it says time to call it a night. But appreciate everyone that tuned in for a bit of a Wednesday pre-lockout chat instead of the Friday one, as always, as I'll be unavailable to do it then. But appreciate everyone that tuned in live and sent through their questions. Also, my captains this week. At the moment, I've got Gardner VC into Charlie Rowbottom. I've also thought about, I think Liam was talking about this as well, because I've got Courtney Murphy from Brisbane, who's the red dot ruck. She plays. Actually, no, I wouldn't be able to do that. So I think it's got to be. I've got a VC, Laura Gardner. It would just come down to, do I captain Rowbottom against Port Adelaide, or do I go Jazz Garner against Melbourne? Because I don't think I'm going Ebony Marinoff against Brisbane. I'm just a bit worried about that matchup. Plus, I can't really VC or see her. I'd have to straight captain her. So at the moment, it's Gardner into Rowbottom. I think Gardner will go pretty well. So I think it almost will be one of those ones where you just lock her score in and that's it. But yeah, Rowbottom at the moment is my captain this week. So that's how we're looking. So, but yeah, appreciate everyone that tuned in. If you did enjoy the Twitter space, make sure to give the Twitter space a like and also give us a retweet or repost so it can reach as many people as possible. And if more people want to get involved and tune in, then that would be awesome. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you do subscribe to the channel and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. If people are following on Twitter as well, if you haven't subscribed over there as well, that'd also be very good if you could subscribe there. I think we're heading towards 1,400. So obviously it's stalled a bit after starting the AFLW season since the AFL men's has finished. But yeah, appreciate everyone that has subscribed and then got involved with the content so far this season. Good luck this weekend. If I don't get to jump on the free kick space tomorrow night with the gang. But yeah, appreciate everyone that tuned in tonight. Good luck for this weekend. And I'll catch you guys next week or on Sunday. Actually, no, it won't be Sunday. Round review will be Monday evening at 7 p.m. because I'll be also unavailable on Sunday night with this whole wedding stuff be doing. So, but yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you vote in the MVP vote as well on my Instagram story. Head over there, put your vote in for Garner, Marinoff, Riddell, or Bruton to win the MVP award for this round. But thanks, guys, for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on Monday night with Tom from Gainer Squad for the round review. So, thanks, guys. I'm out. Cheers.